So, obviously, I'm sitting on the couch alone today, which is a bit different because I started this podcast with somebody else, a co host who was here with me from the beginning. This was definitely something that wasn't planned and wasn't something that I wanted to happen, but it is what it is. And I think I just need to address it and just come to a conclusion for you guys, for everything to finally be out there and then not be any room for interpretation because this is my story and my feelings. And I want to tell it. So, welcome to Sensory Overload, my bitches. Is our personal relationship real? Like, does she actually like me? It makes me emotional because where all the drama starts. Tell me how you feel. He goes, oh, well, I'll just do it with my dad. I was like, shit, you're going to want to take all of this. So, I guess a lot of people are kind of wanting answers and wanting to know what happened between you and Holly, like, why aren't you doing it anymore? And the truth is that, like, there's a lot to it. Like, there is quite a lot, and there's, like, a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to tiptoe around. Like, I literally feel like there's, like, when there's drama in the house and, like, somebody is, like, on the edge and you're just walking on eggshells. That's literally kind of what I feel like. But I'm trying my best to navigate it and try and put the personal and business relationship to two different sides. And that's really hard to do right now because we have literally, I'm saying like literally done everything like I can to try and get her here today. Well, actually, I was the one that suggested it. She wanted to. Did we not?
Yeah.
I've been texting her. I've been calling her. We spoke on the phone. Like everything I can to try and get her here so she can have her opinion and be able to be a part of the discussion, which she doesn't want to do. That's so fair for her. But this is my story and what I want to say. But I guess there's also the part that I'm going to be really frank with on this episode and kind of just straight up because I don't have really time to beat around the bush. But there is a lot of stuff that is a lot deeper than what I'm about to say on the podcast. A lot about the financials, the intro part of the actual podcast and the work behind it and behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff on there that I don't really want to discuss today because I want to give her that respect publicly, but I am going to talk about it on the Patreon, which will be an extra episode a week. There's 2 episodes a week on the Patreon, including the one that goes out on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube on Thursdays. That's actually available on Tuesdays. But on the Patreon, there'll be an extra episode where I discuss everything, and I'm going to be discussing the financial sides, the work that actually went into it, all the little arguments that kind of led to where it ended up. So that's going to be all over there if you want to go have a look at that. Now, I need to, I think, give a backstory onto the podcast to give you a good idea and context for it. The podcast was an idea 2 years ago. And I said this on the first episode as well, where I spoke about I was doing a podcast and Red Bull was doing a studio for me and they were building that and that was in discussions and works. I went to Europe. That didn't end up happening. I then pitched another podcast to a different influencer to do that with me. That never ended up happening. And then I kind of switched agencies from the agency I was with and the talent manager I was with before into a new one. And that was the same one that Holly was a part of. So it kind of just made sense. We kind of gave her the idea and if she wanted to do it and she wanted to do it. So we wanted to do it together. And we kind of like tried to create that together. The name, the ideas, the marketing, kind of everything were all my previous ideas that I wanted to launch with anyway. But I tried to do it in a way that kind of fit her narrative as well. So we kind of worked on that together, I guess. Mind you, we only ever had one session before the podcast going live. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one, maybe 2. But I'm pretty sure there was one session, like one big session that we actually did to do inspo for the cover shoot, to like do the run sheet for the first 12 episodes. That was the only ever stuff that we did really together besides actually filming the podcast. And like there'll be times where I would be literally like trying to invite her to things, and we'd do things together, and we'd go to the beach together with other friends. And she would be like, "Oh, the podcast is so easy," and I'd be like, "Girl, it's draining me. It's killing me." There was, I guess, a lot of interpretation around the workload that each of us were taking on. And I guess like she maybe just didn't have that passion for it as I did. And I guess that kind of plays out in the story on how this unfolded. But at the beginning, it was amazing. Like literally, like I was so proud of her, and I still am to this day, so proud of her for the change she kind of put into herself to be that person, to be confident enough to be on the podcast and to actually, make it smooth in talking to another person, having a co-host, because it isn't easy. It's not easy to just talk to somebody on camera and it flow. Like there's, I guess, a lot of behind the scenes work and kind of just like personality traits you need to be able to be on the podcast, because it's fucking weird. Like it doesn't feel nice to kind of have this conversation and then also have a camera staring at you that whole time. Like it just doesn't feel organic. It just feels a bit artificial, honestly. And then kind of as it went on, I just found it a little bit harder for things to kind of just flow. And I was noticing it, but I had such a passion for it and such a desire to make this into something that I guess I can't just like overlook that. And some things just happen the way that they do, and like I can't really change that. But I'm so thankful that that did happen again as well. Like I'm not upset that all of this has played out the way it has. I'm more thankful that I've learned from it and had the courage, because I just don't think I would have the courage to do it on my own if she wasn't there at the beginning as well. I guess that's just life. That is just life, and the way it played out, I can't feel guilty that that's the way it did, because it does take two people for it to do that, and that's not something that I keep reminding myself that I can't keep feeling that it's all my fault and I'm pushing somebody away, because that's not what happened at all. It's really not, and there's a lot behind the scenes, especially when it comes to a business relationship with a friend, that people don't understand. There's so much work that goes behind, and so much just layers of friendship, business, and mixing them together, that it just becomes kind of a hoax. And I think that's a testament to see other people that are in co-hosting positions and, having business relationships with other people, that does happen that way. And it does turn from a friendship originally, but it can turn into just strictly business. And I guess for me and Holly and I, to be grammatically correct, by the way, my grammar's disgusting. It's so bad. But for us, it just ended up feeling like I was putting this energy into the podcast, all of this stuff, and then our whole relationship just like was just business and was just filming content together. We weren't hanging out but by ourselves and not filming it. Like very rarely. We'd maybe go to a dinner and not record something, and that felt nice. And that kind of happened after this blow up. And I'm so thankful it did, because now we have that personal relationship. I'm trying to give her that respect. I know she might be upset at this. Like I don't think she's probably going to like it. That's just the honest truth. This is also my story, and it might start drama. It might. I don't know. But end of the day, this is my story I can tell, and she's not here to say it, and that was her decision. So here we are. So I think I kind of also want to give like context. Like I think Annabelle, you've seen this for the last couple of days as well. The complications that has been to communicate with her.
Yeah.
And trying to make this go as smoothly as possible, because one thing about Holly, and it's one of her best traits, but it's also one of the hard things that you kind of like have to deal with when it comes to organizing things with her, is she like her communication is like, I love her so much, but it's like the one thing that's like, oh, this is so hard to just get across. And like, if you ever have a disagreement, it's so hard to do that with her, because she doesn't like conflict. Like, and that's okay. And that's her. And she does shut down, and she doesn't kind of speak how she truly feels. I think she's more of a people pleaser and wants to make people feel like, oh, like I'm just going to do whatever they want. And I used to be like that. Like, that's what I used to be. And I tried to get her out of her shell in terms of like, please tell me how you feel. Tell me how you're feeling when I do this. Tell me how you feel when we do an episode. Tell me how you feel when I organize it. Like, do you want to do this? Like, I tried to, I guess, like, pick and find her true reasonings a lot, especially throughout that first season, because I knew that she wasn't going to tell me, and that made it really hard. And the whole first 12 episodes, like, we did that, I think we filmed that in 10 weeks, but publicly it was 11 weeks. We did 270,000 downloads. And I'm so thankful that she was there for that journey. And I hope she learned so much about herself in that time. For me, this was a vision that I wanted to bring to life. And then it was getting, I'm not going to say pulled back because I don't want to say that she's done anything, but it's kind of made it out to be something that I didn't want originally. Like, I had this, like, to be honest, I think that I'm kind of like psychic in the way that I visualize something, I will dream about it, and I will make it happen. And for this podcast, I had so many dreams. Like, my manager's fucking sick of hearing about it. Like, I have so many ambitions and so many goals to kick with this. And by the end of the podcast, it just didn't align, which isn't bad. Like, I don't want to push someone and flog a dead horse when someone's passions aren't the same as mine. Like, that's fine. Like, you do you. Like, we got to do what we got to do that. But we have to separate that. And I guess from that separation, this is where all the drama starts. And this is where, like, it makes me emotional because I don't want to get emotional about it. But I did feel hurt by her. And there was things that she would say that did hurt me after everything I really, really tried to do to think about our personal relationship over our business relationship. And it's hard to think about that. Like, it hurts, and that's the real truth. It is what it is. Like, there's literally nothing that I can do. And I don't want to have to try and fight somebody to try and get something out of them that they don't even want to do. From the first 5 episodes, it was doing so well. And I was so proud of it. And in terms of the promo for it, we were both doing a lot for it. 100%. After that, something switched. And I don't know what it was to this day. I really don't know what it was. And maybe it was something I have done. I don't know, because she has not communicated that with me. But there was like a meeting that we had, and we had it with our whole team. And we're kind of discussing. I felt like I was putting a lot of the work in, and she wasn't. And I wanted to try and bring that up with her in a professional setting. And that conversation did not go down well. Like, it did not go down well. It was like a really professional meeting, and she just walked out. Like, she just said she had to do something. She couldn't talk. That was that. Gave her a few days, reminded her how much I love her, and just trying to work this out. And it kind of worked itself out. It was fine. I still tried to reiterate that I need to see change, and I need to see that effort and see that she still wants to do this, because this is something I want to do. I don't want to just do this first season and never do it again. Like, that's not who I am. And I made it a point at the very start of our podcast that there are a lot of co-hosts out there that will talk so much shit about each other, that will not like each other, and they don't hang out on a personal level. For me, my relationships mean so much more to me than my business. But at the same time, my goals and careers also have a priority as well. And I said in that first episode that we were never going to be them. If there was a breakup, then that will be addressed. And this is what this is. And this is the addressing I'm going to do. And I don't want to keep harping on it. So I'm just going to dedicate this episode to this one thing. But after that first conflict, we kind of tried to go at it again. We did maybe 2 to 3 episodes after that. And maybe it was the conflict, actually, that I reckon. Maybe it was, because I know she doesn't like conflict, as I've just literally just said. But I think maybe because I kind of came at her at a level of asking something of her, and she felt like she had to defend herself, then she kind of pulled back on the podcast. And then we were doing, I think it was some interview we were doing, and it just wasn't flowing. Like, literally, it was so hard for me, because I felt like I was carrying that whole podcast, because the things she was saying and the things that she was coming up with, that they weren't making sense. I just like, even to this day, I can't actually listen to those podcasts, like, because I feel like I sound stupid because I'm trying to, bounce off somebody's energy. And that's what the podcast is all about. You're bouncing off each other's energies. I felt like I couldn't. Like, it was so hard. It was like, boom, everything was getting shut down. She just redirect the conversation. Everything, this is not her fault. Obviously, that was a result of the things that I guess were happening behind the scenes. I was really, really trying to kind of make those flow, and they just weren't, and it just kept happening. And I'm like, what is it? Are we not planning enough? Are we not communicating enough? Is our personal relationship real? Like, does she actually like me? And that's a whole nother thing, and that's something that I'm gonna talk on the Patreon. But yeah, it was like, what is going on? And especially when we would have guests, it was really hard to make that flow, because then you got the third energy in there. So you're bouncing off that person, and then you're kind of just like waiting. I was just waiting for her to say something, but then it would just be so unpredictable what she would say. So it was just the flow was not happening. I had to bring up the whole conversation again into the effort she was putting in, and if she really wanted to do it. So this is where we had kind of our second disagreement. We had a meeting, we set up a meeting. It was to kind of see the future of sensory overload. Also, one thing I have forgotten, the name sensory overload was literally, I was at an event and I was feeling the clothes, and I was with my manager, and I was like, oh my God, I have to feel everything, because literally like the AUDHD, which like I'm getting higher on the spectrum every time. When I wear clothes, I need to feel it. Like, I just have those sensory issues. And I said to the girl, I was like, oh my God, like, I need to feel clothes all the time before I wear them. Like, it's like sensory overload. And me and my manager looked at each other and we're like, that's it. Because we had so many names. And then she liked it, so that's what we went with. I guess after the second argument, which I'll dive into in a second, like, there potentially was like a whole rebrand. Like, there was going to be a whole new podcast. I felt like that you know what? Like, that was my idea and my feeling and how I felt in that moment that resulted in that name. And that describes me and represents me so well. Why would I change that? I feel like people might think that me not changing the name, or me not, going under a different name, is going to be suspicious or create drama, but that was my name. So I'm going to roll with that, because that represents me. Okay. But in our second disagreement, I'm going to say, I still felt the same. We set up a meeting, me, my manager, and Holly, and we were kind of really discussing whether this was going to be something that we're going to go forward with for season 2, or if this was going to be something that one of us went forward with. And I was a bit skeptical, because in the first disagreement, I had mentioned to her that if she wanted to do the podcast alone, or she wanted to do another podcast, that was totally fine. I'm never going to hold her against that. She's got free will. She can go do what she likes, and I'm not going to hold her for that. My personal relationship with her is worth so much more than that. That's where she then came back, and I guess this might have been her saying something that she didn't mean. She goes, oh, well, I wanted to do one with my dad anyway. I'll just do it with my dad. And I was like, oh shit. Which obviously, her dad's never been a part of it at all. And I think maybe that was something she said just out of, in the moment, in the heat, before she left that conversation. In that second meeting, I was like, shit, like, she's going to want to take all of this. Like, she's going to want to try to do this herself. She's going to tell me that her and her dad are just going to do it. And it's just going to be this battle where we're both fighting over this podcast. And that's just not what I wanted at all. So I was really willing to work through it. But when I tell you the switch up, this is what confuses me still to this day. Like, the switch up was just, it was intense. Like, it was so crazy to me. Like, the hot and cold switch up was just like, she's like, yeah, I want to do it. Like, I want to do it. You're the only person that I'd want to do it with. Like, I wouldn't do it with anybody else. So I think that's sweet. But here's 1, 2, 3 of the things I need there to be a change of, which will be discussed in depth on the Patreon. One of them was just the amount of workload I was taking on, and I needed to share that. And I was like, if you don't want to do this whole, like, this is something you don't want to do, like, that's so fine. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you. I will respect that. I will help you. I will do anything, absolutely anything. And she just goes, yeah, I don't really want to do it anymore. And I was like, what? what? I was so confused. Like, I actually was just like, what just happened? Like, this is so different to one, the person I was just speaking to 30 seconds ago when she told me that she did want to do it. And then obviously our previous confrontation, I was just like, I was actually baffled, and I was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you don't want to do it? So yeah, like I just don't want to do it. And I said, that's so fun. Do you care if I do it alone? She's like, no, I don't care. I do not care. She didn't care about anything. I think I also later found out that she did feel a different way in that time, but she obviously wasn't telling me that. And there was a little bit of conflict about, you know, the Instagram name, the TikTok and stuff, which to me didn't make sense that anybody else would take that if I was continuing the podcast. We had already posted so much on there. I have shared and poured my heart out into this podcast, talking about so much personal stuff. I'm not saying she didn't talk about anything personal, but for me, like talking about your mum's passing away, your relationship with your dad, all of that stuff, like all my interpersonal drama, which she did as well, but especially with my mum, is really, really vulnerable. And I felt like a piece of me was a part of this podcast, and that it wouldn't make sense if I just didn't keep going with it and have that taken away. So for me, at least, those socials were already a part of the podcast and just wouldn't make sense, which then we discussed. I obviously now it's just me sitting here. I have control of all of that now, and they all belong to the podcast. I also think people don't understand as well. There was no business registered for the podcast. We would just do that under our own companies because we had our management who had a network at the time, and we kind of just went through that, and we had a contract with her. So that's a whole nother conflict in itself. Like when I tell you the behind the scenes kind of lore of the podcast is just, it's draining. It has drained the fuck out of me. I'm just so glad to get this episode out of here and just move on and just fucking move on. I guess after that second confrontation, I felt better kind of go ahead with it myself. I had spoken with my team. They were happy for everything to go ahead. So I started working on the podcast. When I tell you, anybody that's had a podcast and is trying to pitch either to a new network or pitch to new studios, trying to find the right studio, new space, it's fucking lot. I felt like I started all over again. So I kind of put in that work. And mind you, the story doesn't fucking end here. The story does not end here. I put in all that work. As you can see, I have whole new branding. I have a whole new logo, and it feels like it fits me now. It finally feels like it all has fallen into place. And I put all of that work in. I had meetings with so many networks, like it's crazy. And I'm so happy with the one that we have chosen. The support we have now, the support that I have financially to try and actually make money out of this and make it a job as such, it's making me so fucking happy. And I can't wait to announce that. I haven't asked for permission to actually announce it yet, so I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. But I guess by the time this goes live, it'll be in the bio. So I'm so excited for that. And I did all of that groundwork, and I pitched it myself, and I was selling the podcast. And it's also hard to sell a podcast that's about to go through a rebrand because it's about to completely change. I did all of that groundwork, and then we were still talking as friends, as you know, personal. There was really no business relationship anymore. We kind of stopped that. I was traveling anyway. I was in Norway. Like I was doing a lot of travel, so we weren't like kind of having any business relationship. And I just called her like as a friend, and we FaceTime like literally every single day. By the way, like we are still best friends. After this, I don't know. I don't know. But we were just talking. The podcast got brought up, and she said to me that she actually really wants to do the podcast with me still, and that she wouldn't do it with anybody else. If she's going to do it, she wants to do it with me. And that's what she started, and she doesn't want to have to do that or build that with anybody else. I think she was referring to the stuff she said about her dad. She was like, I totally respect if you still want to do it, but like I'm just letting you know that I want to do it now. She's like, even if you choose to do it, like I would still love to come onto the podcast, and I think I should, to tell people my perspective, and we can have that conversation together so we can talk about it together. And it's just not one-sided, because obviously right now you're only hearing my side and how I feel, and we could be having that discussion together, but we're not, because she has kind of like turned away from that, I guess, and not wanted to do that. And I was like, you know what, like I'm going to think about it, because I still would love to keep the consistency and keep it with her. And especially with people, I'm so, I'm not going to say on the spectrum where I'm like neurodivergent in the way that like I just see life differently. When it has come to work and it has come to my careers and ambitions, even with my social media, I started working when I was 11 years old, literally packing potatoes at a business called the Highlands Fresh, for the ones that know. But I would pick potatoes. I started there when I was 11. I was in year 6, and I literally told my nan that I wanted the job, and she took me down and she's like, well, you go ask for them. And little 11-year-old Bill is walking up being like, can I please talk to Mr. and Mrs. blah, 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 their name. And I fucking got the job. And I have not stopped working since that day. It is not even a discussion for me to ever not work as hard as I bloody could, because I think when you come from a broken family that where you didn't have that support, you kind of, I don't know, build this hyper independence where you need to actually build something for yourself. And if you don't, you're going to be homeless. You're not going to be able to feed yourself because you don't have that support. And I moved out of home as soon as I could turn 18. As soon as I did turn 18, I moved out of home as soon as I could, because I felt so trapped in that. And this is me kind of going on, but trying to give you context on, I just have a different perception of work ethic to other people, and that's okay. And something I might be passionate about and work fucking 0 to 100 on, somebody else might not, and that's okay. Kind of what happened there was just like I needed to see that difference, and I needed to really think about, okay, is this actually going to be something that she's going to change and put into fruition, or is it going to just be, words and that I'm going to regret this later? Because to me, it felt like this is a ticking time bomb. We were just different career path-wise. I was going to Norway. I'm still going to Europe again for summer. She doesn't want to travel. It just there was a fork in the road, and I felt like the path just wasn't aligning anymore. So tried to have that conversation. I kind of thought about it. I was like, no, like I have the opportunity right now to do it myself. I'm just going to lean into the solo journey, and it felt right to me, and that's what I'm doing. And I have such a big vision of this podcast, and the vision that was before just didn't feel like it fit me. Don't get me fucking wrong. I love drama. I love it. I don't really love it when I'm a part of it. I love listening to it, and it's still going to be a part of the podcast for sure. But when it becomes like repetitive every episode, and I'm more like, I love sad shit and meaningful shit and things that actually hit home for people. Because when I'm going through a breakup, I want to be able to search up breakup, how do I get over a breakup, and there be a podcast and somebody that can relate to how I feel and make me think into a different perspective on that, and I can build on that and become a better person out of it. That's personally what I wanted, and I want this to be more of a self-discovery life journey and not just drama, sex, that shit. That's fun. That always be a part of it, but the overall kind of topics that I want to discuss wasn't that at all. Pretty much I decided I wanted to put myself first, and I cannot be responsible for somebody else's feelings, because everything happens the way it did, and it is what it is, and I need to do what's right for me and what's going to work long term. Because this is going to be consistency. This is going to be an episode a week. I don't care if I'm in the middle of bloody Budapest on a boat sailing for a week. I'm taking my mic and camera and I'm recording a fucking podcast episode. Sorry. And that's just the way I want to run it, and that's the way I want it to go. So I kind of simply told her that I didn't want to do that. I didn't directly say, I'm doing the podcast alone. I've chosen I don't want to go ahead with the partnership. Started speaking about it as if like it's just what I'm doing. It's, I'm doing a site meeting for the new studio. I'm doing this. And we're talking about that. Wait, I'm gonna need my phone, Annabelle. I will even read the message that I sent her. Literally, this is on Monday. I said, "Are you sure you don't want to come on the podcast this week? It'll only be like literally the first 10 to 15 minutes of the first episode. It's totally up to you." Because we had been discussing this on FaceTime. The only response that I received was no. That was all I received. So this whole week I've been a bit like hesitant in like what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, because this is the problem I have, and it hurts me that every time I have something that I might have something that's not even an issue to me, and I'm more of a person that needs to discuss like my issues, and I don't like things being up in the air and, you know, ignoring people or being short. Like, that's just not how I work. I'm more of a person that like literally like cry about my feelings and tell you, because I'm a little bitch, and like not even a little bitch, because if you cry and are in touch with your feelings, that's mature, right? Period. That is mature, and that's responsible, and that's how you can grow in relationships. If you don't communicate, you can't grow. So I was like, well, do I ignore it or do I clap back? I don't know. So I tried to be mature, and I said, that's okay. I'm just a bit confused at your constant switch up. You were the one that wanted to come on so people wouldn't assume it, and that you got the respect to tell your perspective. It's so fun that you don't want to now, but I just don't want that to get used against me if I say my side and you're not there to respond to that. I love you and I want the best for you. Never got a response. Literally didn't get anything. Is what it is. That's just life. And we literally like this is what I mean when I talk about business relationships and personal relationships. I have a brand deal to film with her on Friday that we've locked in like months prior, that, you know, we're gonna have to do, and like try and put the business stuff aside and just have that personal relationship. And this is like the last brand deal I guess we will have together. That's just what you got to do. And I constantly just see like girls will literally post on TikTok, and like, because one thing about me, I've lived everywhere. So I've experienced a lot of different people, and I have experienced a lot of different influences. I've been close to influencers at some times, distant to them at other times, close with other people, close with their enemies, close with their best friends as well. So I feel like I have a lot of perspective. And not gonna lie, a lot of people fucking call me when shit's going down and asking if I know anything about it. I don't think that's anything to be proud of, but I just have experienced a lot of people, and I have been burnt by a lot of people as well. So a lot of people will post, you'll see it. They'll post on their TikTok being like, I found my people, my sister, my brother, like I couldn't do life without you. Meanwhile, I know that they're not even friends. Like, but to the audience, they look like best friends. They will post that full well knowing they've met this person 2 minutes ago, and they've said, let's do a video together. That's fine. That's just not me and the values I hold. And I don't want to put that onto the internet and have people think that I'm close with somebody that I'm not. Like, I try to be as authentic as I can. And I never want to be, what's the opposite to authentic? Like unauthentic? That fake. One. Fake. I never want to be fake. And display something that's not a true version of me. And that's why at that side of the podcast, I said, if we ever did have a friendship breakup, or we weren't actually friends, or the business relationship took over, then that was something we were going to reevaluate, and that's not something that I wanted to pursue. I guess since then I've posted, all the promos. Not all the promos. There's still 2 weeks of promos left from this current moment when we're filming, but I've posted so much, and I want to try and get that out there. And yeah, like, things are marketing tactics. The original idea we had for the marketing tactic that we did to actually announce the podcast, yes, was a tactic. And, you can make cuts to make it seem like you say something that you didn't, to get people interested. But that's marketing. Everybody does it. It's a thing that's been around for generations. Brands do it. Podcasts do it. Influencers do it. Everybody does it. That's just the way the world works. And that's called marketing 101. You're trying to make people intrigued about something and want to listen for what you have to say, or what you're trying to sell, or it could be anything. That's just marketing, guys. Like, I guess people are commenting, oh, this is just marketing. And to be fair, people have been like, your marketing team is genius. Bitch, it's just me. It's just me. Like, even that whole first one, like I kind of had that idea for so long, and then we just kind of narrated it into a different perspective to my original idea to kind of make it fit for what Holly was going to talk about. But yeah, like that was all marketing, and I hope she knows that, and I hope that she knows that it's not personal. This is now a business for me, and this is now something we are making money on finally, and something that we're financially investing in. I have invested so much money now, so much fucking money. And the whole previous podcast episode with that financials is so in depth with contracts and tens of thousands of dollars. And that's a whole thing for the Patreon because I can't even begin to discuss that right now because people are going to interpret that in a whole different avenue. But still, as a friend, I'm going to stick into it. I'm going to stick by her as a friend, just not as a business anymore. The things that she's done, I might not like. Or the things she's done has hurt me. Or I've been hurt. But there is so many complexities in this situation that I'm putting all of that aside. And I still love her so fucking much. She's like literally still my best friend. Always will be, as long as she wants that. And I always help her. I love her family. Her family are fucking amazing. There's nothing I could fault her on the personal relationship. But the business relationship, it's gone. It's done. And I'm focusing on my own and my journey. So I guess that leads us to like the future. Like the future is so beautiful. And even now with my own internal team now, I have, this is also Annabelle. Annabelle, say hi.
Hi.
She hasn't even introduced herself. We're having like such a beautiful moment in capturing what I've truly envisioned and bringing that to fruition. And I'm just so excited for you guys to see the guests that we have on, the people that we're actually going to dive so deep into so you can understand people on such a deeper level. Nothing that's just on surface level. Like, I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited because it's just going to be crazy. And Holly and I are fine. It was a ticking time bomb that was going to explode anyway. Like, that's just the way it is. And people go through different eras and they separate. That's just life. You just got to take it as it comes and not look really that deep into it. There's not going to be any more co-hosts. It's just Bill and his guests. And that's what I'm so excited to deep into a self-discovery about myself, about you guys, having a conversation with you. I think there's too many fucking podcasts out there. Every bitch wants to start a podcast. They don't understand the logistics behind it and how hard it is to actually keep going with it financially, just emotionally, and just work-wise. But a lot of them just will have a conversation, won't even address the camera, and it's just, that's fun to look at sometimes, but that's not what I want to do. And I want to have a conversation with you guys because you guys are the reason why I had this podcast in the beginning. Like, if we didn't have every listen that you guys streamed, every like, every comment, like, it truly means so much. And just like, especially a share. Like, I still to this day, whenever somebody shares my content, puts it on their story, butterflies building my stomach, I feel like I'm falling in love. Like, it's like you're actually building on a relationship with a real person. And it's not just a like, and it's not just a comment. It's so personal. And that's what I want to create with this. And I think this is an evolution of me as a person and me business-wise, emotionally-wise, just career-wise. Like, there's everything. There's so much behind the scenes that happen that me and my team are curating for you guys and to bring to life. And I'm so fucking excited for that. Like, it's just going to be so amazing. And just any advice for anybody that's going to go into a business partnership with a friend, be so careful. I too have another business partner behind the scenes for a business that you guys don't even know about. Behind the scenes, I have a whole different business partner, and I did not have a personal relationship with them before we started our business relationship. And the difference that can make in the long term is so amazing. So if you're going into a business and you're going to start with your friend, just be careful and just make sure you know what you're getting into and know the possibilities, and make sure you have the policies in place that if one of you aren't into it or the personal relationship is getting overshadowed, there is those policies where you have an escape plan. The way I look at it, if your building's on fire, you don't wait until then to create a fire exit plan. You create that before. So make sure you do that. That's my one piece of advice that I could give to anybody. Now, I also did a story and like a TikTok where I asked you guys what you wanted to kind of know. And I think I kind of addressed them, but just be a bit more straightforward. Here's some ones I'm going to answer. So our first question is from Chloe. She goes, why can't Holly keep a friend? This is so far from the truth. And I think people need to know, just because her relationships have been public and the downfall of those relationships have been public does not mean she can keep a friend. Every person plays a part, and she's the most beautiful, caring person that you can ever have as a friend. But you just need to understand that what you see on the online isn't true. Like, she can keep a friend and she's good at it, and she can. Everybody has their differences, and that's okay. All right? So stop with that shit. Stop it. Georgia asks, is it just you doing the podcast now? That is correct. It is just me, myself, and I and my team behind it. So come along for the ride, please. Please, Georgia. I will be having guests though. So that's the most exciting part because I'm just so excited to bring that up. Number 3, Emma, are you and Holly not friends anymore? We are still very much friends. Our personal relationship, business relationship are separate. Business relationship is coming to an end. Josie had asked, do you have a new co-host? I just addressed that. No new co-host. We just have guests and me, which is going to make it a lot easier and a lot more consistent. The 5th one is Emma has asked, she hopes that Holly left. Holly has left on her own accord and her own emotional feelings, and it has been her choice to leave. That's fine. That is up to her. But there's literally no bad blood. Anyway, guys, it means the world for you guys to be here with me. I hate crossing my legs like that. That just doesn't feel right. I absolutely appreciate it so much. Thank you for every listen. I'm so excited to bring this to life. Make sure if you want to see a bonus episode every week, we have that on Patreon, and then come for the ride because we're also posting every single day, interacting with you guys and you guys helping in building every single episode. You'll also get hints on the guests we have coming up and what they're talking about. So it's just a fun. It's cheap. It's also cheap, and it's a community that we can build. I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to keep it real. And I just want to say, I love you, and here's to a fucking new beginning, bitch. My bitches. Bye.